And you think the Obama, hope will fade by then as well?
Yes, for a lot of people. It's going to fade for the people that have lost everything. For example, as I said, Citicorp today announced they're laying off, 50,000 people. You go to all of these places around the country, like the Carolinas, it's going to be a glut of commercial real estate, and that's the next shoe to fall.
All right, long segment coming up. I want to break down then over the next few years what he thinks government's response will be to this, why he thinks it will push the people into open rebellion. Our guest is Gerald Celente. I'm Alex Jones. Our website's Infowars.com. Hey, I was just talking to Gerald Celente during the break. He didn't tell me not to say this, but he'll probably get a seat in the FEMA camp for it. Probably already will. But I didn't know he was aware of our work and said it was, interesting. And that, let's just get from Gerald Celente, because I'm interested. I really respect him, what he thinks of the work we're doing here from the work of mine that he's seen. Mr. Celente?
Yes, no, I've been following you for years, and I admire you as a man of courage. And in these times, not many people have it anymore. And they're always towing the party line or afraid of the implications of what they say. And you've been a man that speaks out, you speak your mind, and you're a man of your word and your conviction. So, what's not to admire?
Well, I admire you, but I mean, look, with me, it's not even courage. And I would imagine it's the same with you, because I talk to other people that'll speak out and trailblaze. I mean, why would you lie? I mean, all you've got is who you are and the truth. Money, power, things like that really don't matter to a well-centered person. The truth, veritas, is everything. So with me, it's not even courage. In a way, it's the opposite of courage. I have been so freaked out by what I saw coming historically, because we repeat the same activities over and over again, that it's actually been out of fear that I've been trying to change things and trying to warn people. Also, quote, brotherly love. I mean, I don't like seeing people be conned. I don't like seeing my fellow, humans being hurt. I mean, why do you do what you do, Gerald? Because obviously, you put yourself at risk doing some of the things you do.
Oh yeah, no. Listen, it's funny when we talked about the failings of the Bush administration, we were called Bush bashers. Now we're being called Obama bashers. But it's the price that you pay. And you said it. What's more than your word? I mean, for me, my belief is that when I take that last breath, I want to know that I was true to myself. There's a great saying, that whether it's the Quran, the Bible, Jesus, Muhammad, or Buddha, there is no salvation for the hypocrite. So, what's the sense of living if you're going to be a hypocrite? But, as but it really is a time for people, as they say, now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country. And this is that time, and we've never seen it more than this, because there is going to be that period following. When the crime rates start going up, the first reaction is going to be send more police out into the streets. And so they're going to build up more and more of this. Again, you can call what's going on now with the government now controlling the world's largest insurance company, the world's largest mortgage brokerage. And now they're talking about taking over one of the largest auto companies. And of course now they're buying into the banks. You could call this either socialism, communism, or fascism, but you cannot call it free enterprise or democracy.
That's right. It's total command and control. And the break interrupted you. You were continuing to go through how you see this unfolding and just how bad it's going to get.
So what we're looking at then is they're going to call a bank holiday, we believe. And we also believe that they're going to try the same thing that FDR did with confiscating gold. That'll be another thing, because we're already hearing from the G20 members to reinstitute some format of the Bretton Woods Agreement, which of course gold was the standard. But of course, there's too much money out there, so that means gold would probably be $6,000 or $60,000 an ounce. It would have a really, really high value. So we think that there's going to be that kind of confiscation. We think also that they're doing it already. They're squeezing the little people, and this is why there's going to be a revolt. Go around the country, Alex, state after state, city after city, locality after locality. They're raising taxes to make up for lost revenues. How are the people going to pay these things when their median household income is well below 1999 levels? Wages are falling behind. They're losing their jobs. That's number one. Here in New York, you know what they're doing in the city is they just hired several hundred new traffic enforcement officers, so that when you're driving in New York City, and if your car goes into that white space between the lines where the pedestrian walks, you get a ticket.
Yeah, what they're doing is white gloving everyone now. Everywhere I drive in Austin, there's a cop every half mile. Now if you go a couple miles over the speed limit, they give you a ticket. Everything's being watched, but then they admit in major Texas papers that illegal aliens are above the law. They don't have to have any driver's license, insurance, nothing, only the citizens. And then meanwhile, traffic enforcement cops in New York have gotten in trouble because they drive the worst. They park wherever they want. They do whatever they want. I mean, they're just going to keep squeezing and squeezing, and now not just property taxes. They're saying, we're just going to assess you $20,000, everybody in the town, for new roads we're putting in. I mean, government just is going crazy. What's going to happen?
Well, this is why the revolt is going to take place. You know, there's another one, too. They've unleashed all of the people, from the sales tax people, you know, going to all the small shops, the pizza shops, you know, the liquor stores, all the small people, and they're cracking down on them, making them pay more sales tax. IRS is going to go after more of the small people because the too big to fails are too big to control and too big to monitor. So this is where the revolution starts taking place, because when you're hungry and when you're out of a job and when you're out on the streets, you don't want to hear "yes, we can" anymore. And that's what's going to happen. And the other thing that's going to happen as well is we believe that there's going to be a new third party formed around the same reasons the third parties were formed in the 19th century, against the central bankers taking over the country. And if anybody's not old enough to see what's happening or too blind to look, they better wake up. As we said in our trend alert recently, it was a D.C. heist. They hijacked Washington. And you have Henry Paulson in there from Goldman Sachs. I love it, you know, the liberals, you know, they bash Bush and Cheney. You know that Cheney has ties to Halliburton. Yeah, how about, you know, who did Obama bring in as his new team, his transition team in there for the economy? Robert Rubin and Larry Summers.
They're the guys that changed the rules to do all of this.
Exactly. They're the ones that put the nail in the Glass-Steagall Act, that allowed the banksters to be running wild as they are now, and also to put all these phony little gambling games like derivatives.
Well, here's the $64 million question then. Why did Kashkari even go up before the House and basically admit they took the $5 trillion, not $700 billion? They're not telling anybody where it went. And then he started laughing at them. I mean, I've never even in modern history, or even in Rome, with Caligula, you know, marrying his horse, seen this type of craziness where it's like they're wanting to push us into rebellion.
And exactly, and this is the same thing. I mean, the same thing happened in France, you know.